Apparently, there is news now that Sophie Rain finally went broke. Literally, that's the video title over here, made by It's Janky again, because I love the man and he honestly does an amazing video. His profile will be down in the description, alright? Literally, It's Janky. Amazing dude. Anyways, Sophie Rain finally went broke. Those are for anyone out there who really was thinking to do the same career and path as Sophie Rain. Here we go. This multi-millionaire turns into a homeless woman who's gonna be begging soon for money. Let's see the video. What does he mean by that? And I hope I'm not stupid.
So, to no one's surprise whatsoever, Sophie Rain has once again found herself in even more controversy, and she might be losing a large amount of the fortune she's made from her OF. For those who don't know, Sophie's made it brutally apparent that over the past few months, she's made a lot of money from her adult content online, showing revenue of up to $100 million in just a couple short years, and allegedly even trying to get more girls into becoming OF creators. However, more recently, the potential future governor of Florida has been trying to pass a 50% sin tax to anyone who makes adult content living in the state, which obviously Sophie is a Florida resident, so she would be affected by this tax. And with this, he would specifically be targeting Sophie Rain specifically, as she's the #1 creator on the entire site and make—
Yo, gang, just go to a different country. It's not that flipping hard. Huh, 50% tax for any adult creation. This crazy. Yo, Florida will not have any women like that again. I think that's the best thing to say. Women will not. There's not gonna be a single stripper, OF, or a prostitute if I'm correct.
A bulk of the money. And also, if the tax were to ultimately be passed, Sophie would be paying upwards of $50 million, which, whether you believe this is reasonable or not, isn't changing the way Sophie's been acting about this situation. She's even went on a news show by Piers Morgan to talk to the potential governor of Florida about the change she wants to make.
For those who are not familiar with your work, how would you describe it?
Well, I post on many platforms. I post content on Instagram. I post content on TikTok and all the above. And I also post content on OnlyFans. And honestly, I do a little bit of everything. I do little dancing TikTok videos. I'll post Instagram photos. And then obviously my OnlyFans content.
And would you describe it as graphic, or what would you describe it as?
I mean, I wouldn't describe it as graphic, but it's definitely adult content for sure.
I'm sure Sophie's right.
Not pornographic, but adult content. Do you know what's an adult content? How the flip does this make sense? It's like you're saying, no, I did not get a 90% on the exam, but I got an A. How the fuck does that even make sense?
About this to an extent, not only because, you know, she's the one making the content, but also because she's posting content on other platforms like TikTok and Instagram and all sorts of stuff like that. But even though she denies it time and time again, the content that she posts on OF is adult content one way or another. It's content that guys purchase to do things too, which means that the context behind why the content was made was for the same reason as corn. Overall, it really just depends on how you look at the situation, but yeah, Sophie's not right or wrong in the situation, I guess.
So what do you feel about James Fishback and his plan to tax you 50% as a sin tax for being a sinner?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it's ridiculous. It's very ridiculous. Florida already has no income state tax. It doesn't exist. So it seems very selective, and it seems like it's a punishment.
I mean, Sophie says that that she feels like this is a punishment. Why are you punishing her?
Well, hey, Sophie, good to meet you. It's not a punishment at all. What it is a deterrent. I think Sophie recognizes that our—
You smiling a bit too much. This guy was smiling a bit too much. No. Replay for that. Replay that. Look at this man. He's smiling a bit too much. You corny ass dude, smiling a bit too much, and you talk about tax.
Feels like this is a punishment. Why are you punishing her?
Well, hey, Sophie, good to meet you. It's not a punishment at all. What it is a deterrent. I think Sophie recognizes that our state was better off when young women aspired to be teachers, small business owners, doctors, and lawyers, as opposed to creating adult content. I can respect Sophie Rain as an individual and still respectfully call out that I don't want thousands of young women who are in high school today to feel like the only way they can make a living when they graduate is selling adult content, video, photos of themselves on the internet. And so, Sophie, look, with all due respect, I know you're from Florida. I'm from Florida. We both love our state. I want what's best for you, and I want what's best for every single woman in our state, and that's not to be objective objectified and exploited by the only owners.
Now, while I do understand where this guy's coming from here, I can also kind of understand where Sophie's coming from. Because it's not like Sophie's doing anything technically illegal. The type of content she's making, even if she was doing even crazier, more like hardcore type stuff on her OF, is still within the law and everything like that. But I also do kind of agree with taxes like this going in place. Because I feel like nowadays we see so many girls who, you know, instantly go out of high school and start doing things like OF because they see it as an easy way to make money. And a lot of them are being exploited by agencies and the owners of OF to make content like this to generate them even more money. I mean, look at Jack Doherty, for example. He has an entire OF agency that basically picks up young girls, gets them to do an OF, so then he can generate tons and tons of profits. But as long as they're taking money from these taxes that they're supposedly gonna put on OF creators and use them to improve society and maybe even, you know, pay people more like teachers and whatnot, as they've been saying that they're trying to do, then I feel like that's honestly a pretty reasonable thing, you know, if they actually follow through with doing that.
Look, I'm sorry for pausing, alright? I know I was pausing a lot, but there's just a lot to say. I am so sorry, okay? Please, if you make it this far in the video, thank you guys so much, and please make sure you guys like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss any update. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I feel like, I mean, that's 50%. It's a lot. It's a smart way. But also, technically, Sophie Rain still has 50 million plus. So, like, technically, she's not broke. She's still rich.
Especially since Sophie Rain's always talking about how charitable she is for the poor and people like that.
I feel like as adults, we are all able to legally make our own decisions. And I think that we should also educate a lot more on all of these opportunities that you're speaking of, because I just don't think that we should be singling out any individual for what they choose to do.
Yeah, see, this is where Sophie Rain honestly kind of lost me. She's making it seem like he's trying to outright ban OF entirely, when that's not the case whatsoever. You can still do OF and make a ton of money. Like, Sophie Rain would still be profiting $50 million from all of this, but they're trying to simply deter more women from doing it by adding more regulations on it. She's simply just getting more of a pay cut, but you honestly do so much damage to young men and society overall.
The point I would make is, what about, you know, the argument that women are empowered to make their own decisions about their own bodies, their own choices, their own careers?
So let me ask you a question, Piers. If a woman is empowered to make their own decision about their own body, and a woman struggles to pay the rent, do we then encourage that woman to sell one of her kidneys to pay the rent and say it was her own decision? No,
well, she's not selling her kidney.
Women.
She's not selling her
No,
kidney.
hold on. But where do you draw the line, Piers? She is imperiling her future as a mom, as a worker. You just heard Sophie say
How is she
was
imperiling
fired
her
from
future
her
as a
job.
mother? I don't get that.
Piers,
How does she imperil her future as a mother?
Well, let me tell you how. You just heard Sophie tell you that she was fired from her job when her boss found out her OnlyFans.
Yeah.
She was fired from her job.
Yeah.
And now, what is, with all due respect to Sophie, what are you going to tell your daughter in 10 or 15 years when all of these images are all over the internet and your daughter is being bullied in middle school and was told that you guys were Christians? With all due respect, what do you say then? It creates a real weight, a real tension between a mom and her children, and of course, a worker and her employer. I don't want to encourage women to go on OnlyFans and then get fired from their job and then have a real fight at home about what mommy did on the internet last week. Sophie, if the number of women doing OnlyFans tripled in Florida tomorrow, would that be a good or a bad thing?
I think honestly, it would be a great thing. A lot of women are trying to find different ways to make more income in a, you know, heavily damaged economy. So I think that there should be those opportunities out there for these women to make an income.
Well, you're just saying what the fuck do you mean? But at this point, you're just saying I think women should just all women just start selling their body, bro, and what the fuck? That, but what would I expect from a girl who does it herself, bro? Like, come on, Sophie, what the fuck do you mean?
Now, Sophie saying that if more women did OF, that would be a great thing is absolutely insane. She's once again trying to make all of this stuff even more normalized to try and get more women into actually going into this industry, because the more women that go into this industry, the more money she also makes. And I honestly hate the excuse people are constantly using that women that do OF are doing it to be empowering, to, you know, use their bodies in a way that's like showing them off and like trying to be more like literally just women empowerment, because that's not the case whatsoever. They want to make money. The only upside of doing something like OF is making money, because whenever you do it, you throw everything else out the window. You're never going to be able to get a normal, good paying job. A large percentage of the population, if not everybody, are just going to look at you as a corn star online. A lot of people, including family members, are just going to lose so much respect for you and everything like that. The only upside is just making a ton of money. That's it.
And out of interest, Sophie, I have to say, I mean this with no disrespect, but I'm not aware, I haven't viewed your work. What is it that makes you so popular?
I think that I'm just very transparent with my audience. I'm never over here encouraging people to try and join the site. I'm very clear on the pros and cons of it also, but I'm just very transparent.
So then hold on, what are the cons? Then what are the cons? What is a con? Let's be transparent. What is a con of joining?
I mean, exactly like I said, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that OnlyFans is a great site. Some of the points you are making are correct, like, you know, It's damaging to the future. And I want people to understand and educate themselves, but women still should be able to make that decision for themselves at the end of the day. And they shouldn't have to worry about
Sophie, if you had a
tax to disincentivize and deter it. I'm not banning it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That is what he's doing. Sophie, if you had a daughter, would you want her to do what you're doing?
I mean, I would let her decide. It's up to her.
If you say yes, I am going to crash out. Because no way as a mom, you just say, yeah, I want my daughter to be a stripper. No fucking shot.
Decision.
But do you think as a mother you would want that?
I think that I would be supportive of it no matter what. Yes.
Get the fuck out of my fucking game. Get the fuck out. Oh my days. Oh my days, that was heartbreaking. That was a long one. Get the days, bro. Oh, she's messed up in the head, bro. She is messed up in the head, bro. Oh my fuck. Bro, you're gonna see in a couple of years Sophie Rain's daughter with Jack Doherty doing a collab. I don't fucking know how.
Like he said, it's not like he's trying to ban OF entirely. All he's trying to do is disincentivize people from doing it more and more. Not only women, but also men, by adding a tax that makes it so if you decide to do it, you're simply gonna have a way bigger pay cut compared to just having a normal, you know, job that contributes to society and stuff like that. And guys, come on. We all know Sophie Rain has been trying to, well, allegedly, get more girls into the OF industry. I mean, there's no reason why she would be flexing her earnings online if it weren't for one of two reasons. It's to try and rage bait everyone to get more people to buy her content, or it's to try and show other girls how much money you can make from the site and get more of them to sign up and join the industry. It's just an entire marketing ploy. It's not her trying to be more transparent with her audience. It's a way for her to make even more money. And honestly, I could be completely wrong about this, guys. I'm saying allegedly because I don't want to get into any sort of, you know, trouble or anything like that. But if you really think about it, that's genuinely the only logical thing that's going on here.
My point to Sophie is this, is if you want to keep doing this, then we're going to take 50% of what you earn and we're going to use it to raise public school teacher pay. Our public school teachers are not getting paid enough. We're going to use this as a resource to fund the empowerment of young women who have signed up to do something dignified, with all due respect, unlike you, and be a public school teacher, educating, inspiring, and motivating.
Do you know what, James? You know what?
At this point, you're just humiliating her. What do you mean I'm sorry and then you're going humiliating her? Bro, come on. Have some dignity, bro. I mean, like, have some respect. I don't fucking know what I'm saying.
Here's what I would say. I've got to end this debate. Here's what I would say. I've listened to both of you, and you've both made good points. But honestly, that last statement you made was so pompous and patronising. Honestly, who are you to be the great moral arbiter of what young women do with themselves legally in the United States? Who are you to say if you become governor, you're going to take half her money in a state where they don't have even state income tax? It's like there's a real arrogance to this, that you've decided you are the moral arbiter of every Floridian. And it may be why you're trailing so badly in the polls. And Sophie, the good news for you is don't worry about it, because he's not going to win. So you're not going to end up giving Mr. Fishback any money for his plans, much as it would be great to put more money into teachers in public schools. Of course it would be, but it won't be coming from you, Sophie Rain, because he ain't gonna win.
Now, if he does end up getting elected as governor and actually gives a lot of this money to teachers and other jobs like that, then I really don't see a downside in this situation. Like we've seen on numerous videos Sophie Rain has posted, she always talks about how charitable she is and stuff like that, always giving money to the poor and helping out people who aren't as fortunate as her. And obviously, even if this tax was put in place and they actually gave this money to all these things, Sophie Rain would still be making an absolute ton of money from this content, and she would be helping out these jobs like teaching and stuff like that. So for her, it really does seem like a win-win. But let me know what you guys think about this situation in the comments down below. I saw a few clips from this news segment go absolutely viral on Twitter, and I'd make a little video about it for you guys, so I really do hope you guys enjoyed. Also, Piers Morgan, please don't strike my video, bro. Please, I beg. Spotify shout out of the day goes to Lammy Boy. Thank you so
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, he does have a point. Like, even though she's gonna lose money, she doesn't just make money off OnlyFans, but she makes it off TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, maybe Facebook. She's still gonna have shit ton of money to throw. Like, you know what I mean? So anyways, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, turn those post notifications so you don't miss another upload. Without further ado, hope you guys have a blessing day. See you on the next one. Peace out.